Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Today we read the double parsha of Acharei Mot and Kedoshim. Acharei Mot means after the death, and Kedoshim means holiness in the pure, in the plural, and the pure. And I'd argue that this combination, this paradigm set forth by the Torah, was true in the times of the Torah and remains true today. I could use so many examples to show it to you. It's true in the personal sense. For anybody who's lost a loved one, Acharei Mot, after the death, we say Kaddish, and we praise God's sanctity. For any community like ours who has lost a beloved member, like we did this past week in Al Levin, whose memory should always be a blessing, Acharei Mot, after his death, we turned to one another and we found Kedoshim. We found holiness in the warm embrace of one another during Shiva services. This week, as a nation, Jews everywhere commemorated Yom HaZikaron. We marked the ultimate sacrifice paid by so many people who have been killed so that the state of Israel could exist for the rest of us. And then, Acharei Mot, after the death, we turn to Kedoshim, to a space of incredible holiness, supreme wonder, national pride, Yom HaAtzmaut, Israel's Independence Day. As the Jewish people, it's part of our DNA to move from Acharei Mot toward Kedoshim. In each of these examples, we move from low to high, from void to sanctity, from darkness to light, with the help of a piece of liturgy, with a piece of holy writing. In my personal and communal examples, we use Kaddish, mourner's Kaddish, to bring Kedoshim, composed by the rabbis, to divide the service and to bring calm and repetition to the uncertainty of mourning. In my national example, we use the Israeli national anthem of Hatikvah, meaning hope. Perhaps the single most important piece of Jewish liturgy in the last couple thousand years, Hatikvah has become an iconic anthem learned and sung by Jews of all ages in all places in the world. Recently, for the first time in Israel's history, its Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu visited Australia on an official visit. Together with the Australian Prime Minister Malcolm Turnbull and Netanyahu visited a Jewish day school in Australia. And the Australian Jewish children in the school stood and sang Hatikvah in front of Turnbull and Netanyahu in perfect Hebrew. Look for the video on YouTube. I dare you not to tear up. Look for the video on YouTube of Gail Friedman, the Israeli who won the gold medal at the 2004 Athens Olympics. Listen to Hatikvah play as he stands on the medal platform. Listen to the Israelis in the crowd as they belt out the words and scream with pride and wave the flag. I dare you not to tear up. But who wrote these words? Who was the author of the anthem? I'll tell you. A Jewish Ukrainian poet named Naftali Herz Imber, born in 1856. In 1882, he moved to pre-state Israel, then controlled by the Ottoman Empire. In 1886, he published his first book of poetry, and in that book appeared a 9-stanza poem called Tikvatenu, Our Hope. 11 years later, in 1897, Imber's work was boiled down to 2 stanzas and adopted by the First World Zionist Congress in Basel, Switzerland, as the official Zionist anthem. And then, of course, later, it became the national anthem of the State of Israel. Tikvatenu, the original poem, describes the hope and the heart and the wall and the temple and the sea and the Galilee. Tikvatenu is a portrait of the Jewish soul. It's a love letter to the land of our ancestors. It's a declaration that we believe that we have reached the age to rightfully receive our inheritance. Who was this man who crafted the most widely learned piece of Hebrew poetry since the Psalms? In his obituary that appeared in the New York Times on October 11th, 1909, titled, this is a long title, and I quote, 10,000 follow bier of the Zion poet, with his Zionist song Hatikvah beside him, Imber is buried from Educational Alliance. End of title. And now I'll quote from the obituary, and I quote, the body of Naftali Herz Imber, the East Side poet and the author of Hatikvah, that Zionist national hymn, who died on Friday in want, was followed from the Educational Alliance building in East Broadway to the Mount Zion Cemetery by 10,000 mourners. End of quote. After spending hours reading about Imber, internet articles describe him as a wanderer, a bohemian artist, a person who suffered from alcoholism. Imber's life was flawed and non-heroic. He is not glorified as a Zionist prophet like Herzl. He is not lauded for a near constant stream of poetic genius like Bialik. Imber was a simple craftsman. He was an author who gifted us with a singular work of soul-stirring holiness, Kedoshim. And perhaps only a wanderer and a journeyman craftsman, a flawed character and a fringe outsider, could see what the larger-than-life Zionist heroes could not. Imber lives on forever for championing the essence of the Jewish soul. We love Hatikvah. We relate to Hatikvah because we are like Imber. Imber didn't dwell on the wisdom of the Torah or speak of the rational argument of the Talmud or sing of the spirituality of Kabbalah. Imber painted a simple portrait of the emotion of each and every one of us, the hope to be better. And he knew how to pull at the strings of the heart of every single Jew. Because it's not rational to explain why we from Los Angeles land there in Israel and know that we are connected to that land. And it's not rational that anytime I'm standing here in America and I mention our national homeland, we all know I'm speaking about Israel. And it's not rational that we adopted Imber's poem and celebrated it, and at the same time allowed him to die in want. Acharei mot, Kedoshim. After Imber's death, 10,000 mourners accompanied him to his holy resting place to show appreciation for him. That's our way. But let's not accept that as our way for the state of Israel. Don't wait in your life to express your love for our collective home. Don't hesitate even for 1 second for expressing pride for our ancestral Jewish homeland. Don't wait to engage in Israel regarding issues that you are passionate about. Pick organizations that lead in energy preservation, that fight for religious pluralism, that provide for lone soldiers without family living in the state. Pick a cause that will lead Israel toward Kadoshim, the holier, more sanctified Israel. Because, as Imber knew, the Jewish people and the homeland that we would build, it would not be perfect. We're never perfect. And yet we always hold on to hope. Hatikvah. No country is perfect. And I maintain my pride for that little piece of land promised to me by my forefather Abraham by God, promised to my kids by their friends who live in Jerusalem and go to elementary school there, who will wear the IDF uniforms, who stand solemnly on Yom HaZikaron and then throw amazing parties on Yom HaAtzmaut. Hatikvah embodies the struggle that continues even today, because Israel is not a static state focused on the glory that once was. Israel is constantly evolving. Israel is not a completed project. Israel is a successful hypothesis. The Jewish people do deserve a homeland, and we deserve it located in the land promised to us by our ancestors. And what we make of that state is up to us. And every time Hatikvah causes controversy, such as happened in 2012, when Israeli Arab Supreme Court Justice Salim Jubram refused to sing the anthem, claiming that it only represented Jews in Israel, my response is pride, because he's right. The song does, in fact, represent the Jewish journey towards Jewish statehood. And the fact that there is an Arab Supreme Court Justice in Israel, and that an Arab Supreme Court Justice of Israel can choose to not sing the national anthem, is an amazing display of the values of our Jewish morality and our sense of modern liberty. Was Jubran killed for not singing? Was he imprisoned? Was he reprimanded? He sparked a national debate. What could be more Jewish than that? I respond Yasher Koach to Justice Jubran. I respond Yasher Koach to Medinat Yisrael, the state of Israel. Like Imber's life itself, Hatikvah, hope, pushes us to look at ourselves and recognize that the amazing accomplishment that is the state of Israel contains elements of Torah and liberty, art and science, godliness and danger, all wrapped up at the same time. Israel is complicated. And every time we sing it, from now on, I hope we reflect on ourselves and Imber and everybody who has contributed to this national homeland. I hope we think of every parent who has lost a child wearing the uniform of the IDF so we could visit the Kotel in the Old City. Every person who's lost a spouse so that we could enjoy ourselves on the beach in Tel Aviv. Every member of our extended Jewish family whose life has been cut short so that our national hope could be realized in our lifetime. Hatikvah is the yearning of the Jewish people toward what's right and what's just in the world. Hatikvah always points us toward Kadoshim, towards the better, more sanctified version of ourselves. I pray that Israel grows with every passing year towards the best version of the state that it can be. And may the state of Israel grow to the ripe old age of forever. A source sheet will now be distributed around the sanctuary that includes the final text of Hatikvah, followed by the original poem of Tikvatenu. Please rise and join me in facing the flag of Israel and singing of Hatikvah.
כל עוז בלבד.
כל עוד בלבד פנימה, נפש יהודי הומייה, ופאתי מזרח קדימה, עין לציון סופיה. עוד לא אבדה תקוותנו, התקווה שנות 2000, להיות עם חופשי בארצנו, ארץ ציון ירושלים, להיות עם חופשי בארצנו.